Well, hello there. Today is Tuesday, December 31st. And today I wanted to talk about stereotypes about Muslim women and about Muslims in general. And this is one of those topics that I've been wanting to speak on for an extremely long time. And that's why I'm so happy to be doing this video diary series. There's a lot of topics that I want to speak on about Muslims and about Muslim women, stereotypes that apply to us. And this is going to be a very long segment because I have a lot to say about it. This is going to be a lengthy segment, a 3-part segment, because I have a lot to say about it. Because there's a lot of stereotypes about Muslims and about Muslim women. And, majority of the stereotypes are completely false. They don't apply to all Muslims and all Muslim women. Just like all stereotypes don't apply to, any group of people. There's always exceptions to certain stereotypes. Like I said, stereotypes about black people. All black people didn't grow up poor. Some black people come from money. Now, the stereotypes about Muslims and Muslim women. I always tell people, if you don't have a Muslim relative, if you don't have a very close Muslim friend, or a Muslim person in your family, never assume anything about us, about our way of life, about our religion, about our beliefs and who we are. Because chances are what you're assuming in the stereotype that you're believing, chances are it's completely false. And you don't know anything about Muslims, and you don't know anything about Islam, okay? Even if you've traveled, even if you've traveled the world, even if you've been to Muslim countries, a lot of people take that trip to Dubai or that trip to Turkey or Saudi Arabia, and they think they know everything about Muslims, the Peggies, but there's still incorrect and false narratives that people create about us. A lot of the stereotypes that people have about Muslims don't apply to American Muslims, okay? It's like I said, there's Muslims all over the continent. Every continent on planet Earth, there's Muslims in Muslim countries. Africa, Asia, South America, North America, all over the planet Earth, there are Muslims and there are Muslim countries, okay? And every country has a different culture, just like every country has different traditions, okay? A lot of the stereotypes of Muslims do not apply to American Muslims. And a lot of the things that you hear, about Muslims, they're more cultural, okay, for that country. And it has nothing to do with the actual religion of Islam, okay? And that's why I have to always remind people when they start throwing all these stereotypes about me. Well, I thought Muslim women did this. I thought Muslim women didn't work. Well, I thought Muslim women had to do this. And it's like, huh? No. I have to tell people, I'm American, okay? I'm American, number one. And I'm black. Okay, so whether I'm Muslim or not, I'm still a black American woman, okay? I'm not African, I'm not Asian, I'm not Indian, I'm not Middle Eastern, I'm not Caribbean. I'm an American woman, a black one on top of that, okay? So I have to clarify that with people. Now, let's talk about the first myth and stereotype about Muslims and Muslim women. Arranged marriage, okay? We don't have arranged marriages in the United States of America, okay? The stories you hear about arranged marriages, those are in other countries. Those are your, Asia, some parts of Asia, India, some parts of Africa. That's not America, okay? Nobody's being forced into a marriage in the United States of America. This is America, okay? We have freedom in America. And I always say, if I had to be Muslim, I'm thank God I'm Muslim in America. And that's my honest opinion. I wouldn't want to be Muslim in any other country. Even a Muslim country where I would fit in with people like myself. Even though I know I will always be an outcast and a minority in America, being a Muslim, because America's not a Muslim country, I still rather be an outcast and a minority in America as an American Muslim than be a Muslim woman in another country. Because a lot of these Muslim women in these Muslim countries, they get treated very bad. And they, a lot of them don't have the freedom that us Americans have. That's why everyone wants to come to America. Because America is a free country, land of the free, home of the brave. And that's why I'm so glad I'm American. So a lot of the things that apply, these stereotypes, don't apply to us American women, Muslims, okay? Arranged marriages. We don't have arranged marriages in the United States of America, okay? So, I'm here to dispel all the myths about Muslim women. I'm here to dispel all the myths about Muslim women and about Muslims in general. Arranged marriages do not happen in the United States of America. I don't know any American Muslim woman that's ever been forced to marry anyone, okay? We pick our own spouses. Our parents do not force us to marry anyone, okay? Now, someone in the community, if they know that you're single, someone in the community, may recommend someone for you. Like if they say, well, Jehan, you're single. Well, this brother over here, he's single. He's looking for a wife, Or, this sister, this brother is single. Well, this sister, she's single as well. They may recommend someone, okay? But no one's being forced into any type of marriage. That happens in other countries, okay? Once again, this is the USA. This is the United States of America. We don't do arranged marriages in the United States of America. I don't know any Muslim American woman that's ever been forced to marry anyone. We pick our own spouses. Someone may recommend someone to you if they know you're single and that person is single as well, but nobody is forcing you to get married to anybody, okay? I do know a Muslim woman who was forced into a marriage and had an arranged marriage, but she was not American. She's from Bangladesh. And that's something that happened to her when she was in Bangladesh, when she was a child. She was 13 years old. And, her parents brought home this man and said, this is your husband. And this is the man that you're going to marry. And she was 13 years old, and he was 30. And she didn't know him from a can of beans. Never seen the man, never met, never known him, never seen him. The day she married him was the first time she had ever seen him. And she was 13 and he was 30. But like I said, that was in America. That was Bangladesh. Okay? And she's much older than me. She's 55. But yeah, that arranged marriages happen in other parts of the world. Okay? In other countries, not in America. Just like things like female circumcision. Some Muslim countries believe in circumcising a woman. And the way female circumcision works is they remove a young girl's clitoris. And this usually happens to a girl when she's like 8, 9, 10 years old, you know, because they believe a woman shouldn't feel and enjoy any pleasure during sex, you know. And to them, you know, I've heard some male Muslim scholars say, you know, a woman having a clitoris is just like a miniature small penis, you know. So they believe a woman shouldn't experience any pleasure during sex. So they circumcise the girls at 9, 10 years old. And they do it without any anesthesia, you know, just with a razor blade, switchblade. And I've known Muslim women that have been circumcised when they were 9, 10 years old. But once again, they're not American. They're from Muslim countries. We don't do female circumcision in America, okay? Once again, that's a stereotype that does not apply to American Muslim women. That happens in those Muslim countries. I don't know any Muslim American woman that has been circumcised and had her clitoris removed. I do know Muslim women who have been circumcised, but they're not from America. They're from Muslim countries. Egypt, African Muslim countries. I'm not from those countries. I'm American, okay? So that hasn't happened to me. That hasn't happened to any of the American Muslim women that I know. Once again, that's a stereotype that applies to Muslim women of other countries. We don't do female circumcision in America. Okay? Now, another stereotype, and this is the one I've been waiting to address. That Muslim women do not work, and we all have this great, magnificent, rich, billionaire provider of a man in our lives. That we're kept women and we don't have to work. We don't have to lift a finger. We live this lavish, fancy, luxurious life provided for us by our millionaire of a husband. That is the biggest stereotype, misconception, myth, and lie about Muslim women. Okay? If I had to take a wild guess, I would say that only applies to about 30% of all Muslim women in the world. Okay? Like I said, there's Muslims all over the planet Earth. There's Muslims that live the rich, fancy life, you know, some in Saudi Arabia, Dubai, has a lot of wealthy Muslims. Saudi Arabia and Dubai are only 2 countries, okay, of the whole world. Every Muslim woman in the world doesn't live like that, okay? There's Muslims in third world countries that live extremely poor in shacks with no running water. okay, below the poverty line. They don't have anything. They barely have clothes. No running water, no indoor plumbing. Okay? A lot of Muslim women, just like a lot of women in other countries, are denied an education. Okay? You have Muslims that live in refugee camps. I have a little boy that I sponsor. I posted him a long time ago on my Instagram, probably 4 or 5 years ago. I posted him on my Instagram, and we have the exact same name. His name is Jehan Muhammad, but he's from Bangladesh, and he lives in Bangladesh, and he lives extremely poor. He's an orphan, okay? His mom and his parents and whole family got killed in a genocide in Myanmar, and he lives extremely poor, you know, and that's why I sponsored him. And, you know, all Muslims do not live fancy, luxurious lives. He lives in a refugee camp. Okay, there's a lot of Muslims live in refugee camps that are escaping genocides in their country. And some of them go days without eating. You know, no indoor plumbing, no running water. They have nothing. They live extremely poor. So this idea that all Muslims are rich and all Muslims have money is the biggest misconception and stereotype about Muslims. Now, I'm going to use myself as an example, okay? Understand, everything that I talk about in this video diary, I'm always using myself as an example, because this is my video diary. I'm talking about myself. Now, I use myself as an example. I told you, my parents never had money. I don't come from a family of rich people. No one in my family ever had anything. I will be the first person in my family to be a millionaire and to be super successful, to be famous, to have, you know, to travel the world, to have really much of anything. Neither one of my parents had a 4-year degree from any university. So my parents really didn't have that much education. And because they didn't have that much education, they didn't have really good jobs. My parents didn't own businesses, okay? They weren't entrepreneurs. They had very low paying jobs, you know, and that's why I grew up in the hood, okay? Once again, now, most Muslim women, some are married, some are not married. It's like I said in the first video diary, all of us are not married. You have to be married in order to be kept, okay? Now, the Muslim women that are not married, how do you think they're getting by and surviving and providing for themselves? They have jobs, okay? And they have to get up and go to their job 5 days a week, however many days a week, to provide for themselves and pay their bills by themselves, okay? So like I said, all Muslim women aren't married. If I had to take a guess, I would say it's 50-50. Half are married and have a husband. The other half are single women like myself and don't have a husband. Therefore, they have to work, okay? And I've been a working woman for majority of my life, a vast majority of my life. Like I said, I'm using myself as an example for this subject. When I was 14 years old, you know, and I was freshman starting high school, and I wanted all the name brand clothes, the Tommy Hilfiger, the Baby Fat, Rockaware, all what was popular, everyone was wearing, the Nautica, the LEI jeans and all that stuff, Timberland boots, New Balance. My mother told me at 14 years old, you want those name brand clothes and Timberland boots, Air Force Ones, and all that? Well, guess what? You're going to have to go get a job. Okay? So my mother told me. My mother was a single mother of 5 children. She lived on a budget. Like I said, she did not have money. So that's what I did. I went and got a job. And I had my first job at 15 years old. And I was working at a bagel place. It was called Brugger's Bagels in Raleigh, North Carolina, where I grew up, in the mall. And that was my very first job. And I was getting paid $5.25 an hour. Okay, and I only worked on the weekends because I was, a student. Yeah, I had a job and I had my own money to buy myself the clothes and things that I wanted. And that's how my mother raised me and her daughters. My mother has 3 daughters, and she raised all of us to be independent, hard-working women. And she always told us, never depend on a man for anything. You depend on yourself and you depend on God. And those are the type of women that we are. My 2 older sisters are college educated. They have careers and good jobs. And we've all been working women since we were teenagers, okay? So I'm no stranger to hard work. I've been a working woman since I was 15 years old. Acting is not my first job. I've had several jobs. It's probably my 21st job. If I had to guess how many jobs I've had, I've worked in retail, I've worked in customer service, I worked for Nextel and Sprint in the call center, customer service troubleshooting agent. I've worked in factories and warehouses. I've worked as a waitress. I've worked as a cashier inside the gas station for BP. Kangaroo Express. I've worked for Fortune 500 companies in Research Triangle Park in North Carolina. So I've had several jobs, and I have a lot of skills that people don't know that I have. Acting isn't, my first job. I didn't just become a working woman. I've been a working woman since I was 15 years old. So I'm no stranger to hard work and earning my own money. I've been doing that for a very long time. Now, most Muslim women who do have husbands that are providers, most of their husbands have blue-collar jobs, okay? I don't know any Muslim woman that's married to a millionaire or a billionaire, okay? None of them live this lavish, luxurious, posh, glamorous lifestyle. The Muslim women that I know of that don't work, their husbands, like I said, have blue-collar jobs. They're electricians, they're plumbers, they're construction workers, insurance agents, customer service agents. They're regular men with regular jobs. I don't know any Muslim woman that, is married to a millionaire or a billionaire. Once again, that's a stereotype, and that does not apply to us American Muslims, okay? Now, like I said, my mother raised her daughters to be independent and hardworking women because she already knew, what happens when you have to depend on a man 100% financially, because a lot of times she's seen too often Muslim women and just women in general get stuck in an abusive relationship or just in a bad situation where they can't leave. And the reason why they can't leave is because they have no money and they have no education, they have no job, they don't know how to provide for themselves and do anything for themselves. So that's why my mother raised us to be independent, hardworking women. There is no Saudi Arabian billionaire or, African Muslim prince or Indian Muslim prince or whoever coming to sweep me off my feet in Raleigh, North Carolina, where I grew up. It's like, okay, let's be realistic here. That's what I said. We're black and we're American. We're not Middle Eastern. We're not Saudi Arabian. We're not in Afghanistan. We're not in India. This is America. Okay? Now, like I said, I don't know any Muslim American women that are married to a millionaire or a billionaire. The ones that don't work, that have husbands that are providers and they don't have to work and are stay-at-home moms or wives, their husbands have blue-collar jobs. Electrician, plumber, construction worker, insurance agent, garbage truck driver, whatever. I don't know any Muslims in general that are millionaires or billionaires, okay? Most American Muslims, black American Muslims like myself, guess where they live, okay? And get ready for the kicker, for you people that think all Muslim women and all Muslim people have money and live this lavish life, which is a myth and a lie and a stereotype. You want to know where most black American Muslims live? In the housing projects, in the ghetto, on Section 8, on welfare, subsidized public housing. Okay? All of my mother's friends, when I was growing up, all of my mother's friends, black American Muslim women like myself, guess where they live? Get ready for the kicker now. Guess where they live? In the projects, in the ghetto. That's where all my mom's friends live, in the projects. Why? Because they were black single mothers, okay? And that's what people don't understand. Whether we're Muslim or not, we're still black and we're still American, okay? That's what people don't understand. Our skin is still black. We're still black people in America. Our religion has nothing at all to do with our socioeconomic status. We're still black and we're still American, okay? And majority of us live like most black American people, which is in the projects, in the ghetto, on welfare. Like I said, I grew up in the hood and my mother was on welfare, and all of her friends were single black mothers just like her and lived in the ghetto on welfare, okay? Because at the end of the day, whether we're Muslim or not, we're still black people in America. So we're not excluded from the systematic racism that most black people experience in this country. And if you drive through any ghetto, in any housing project in America, New York, Philadelphia, New Jersey, North Carolina, California, Texas, Wyoming, wherever, you will see black Muslim families living in those neighborhoods, in the projects, in the ghetto, amongst all the other poor black people, okay? Our religion does not exclude us from the struggle and racism that most black Americans face in this country, okay? That ideology and stereotype that people have that all Muslims are rich, that is the biggest lie and stereotype. All Muslim women are not married. The single ones have to work their behind off and have to work hard to take care of and provide for themselves, like myself. That's what I've had to do my whole life, okay? I don't come from a wealthy family. My parents never had anything. I told you how my mother grew up. My mother grew up in a shack in the country in North Carolina below the poverty line in a raggedy ass house with no indoor plumbing. That's how my mother grew up. She never had anything in her life, okay? And she still doesn't have anything, if I'm being honest. My mother at 67 years old still has never owned a house in her life. She's never even traveled outside of the United States of America. Why has she never traveled outside of the U.S. and owned a house? Because she does not have money. She does not have anything. She's never had anything in her life. Okay? That's why I've had to work hard my whole entire life. I didn't have parents that had money to give me and to spoil me. Nobody has ever spoiled me in my life other than myself. I've never been a kept woman. I've never been a spoiled woman. I've been a working woman since I was 15 years old. Okay? So this stereotype that you have that, Muslim women don't work and we're all kept, that is a lie. And I'm here to dispel all the myths. All over the world, there are working Muslim women, even some that are married. Some are married, some are not. It's the same thing with Christian women. That's why I said we're no different than Christians, other than we live a different lifestyle, a more disciplined lifestyle. We're no different than Christian people. You have Muslim women out here that are judges, doctors, lawyers, entrepreneurs. There's a Muslim woman, I can't remember what country, she's an airplane pilot. So this idea that we don't have any freedom and that we're oppressed and that, our men control us and all that, that's bullcrap. I'm here to tell you, it's complete bullcrap. And that's why I started my app, Muslima Magic, was because I wanted to show all of the ambitious, working, career-driven, intelligent Muslim women out here, the ones that own businesses, the ones that have college degrees, the ones that are, doctors, lawyers, veterinarians. There are some very, very intelligent Muslim women in the world and in America as well. Own businesses, have college degrees, hard-working women. Some are married, some are not. So you can't apply a stereotype to all Muslim women. This is America. In America, we have freedom. Freedom to do whatever the hell we want. I don't know any Muslim woman that is living a lavish life. I don't know any rich Muslim people at all. I don't know any Muslim millionaires. I don't know any Muslim billionaires, not personally. All the Muslims that I know, the ones that I grew up with, we all grew up in the hood. Mamas are single mothers on welfare. That's how me and the Muslims that I know grew up. That's how most black Muslims in America live and how they grow up. Because this is America and we're not excluded from the racism and, the issues that black people deal with in this country. We're still black, whether we're Muslim or not. We're still black, and we're still Americans. Our religion has nothing at all to do with our socioeconomic status. Most Muslim people that I know are on welfare. They live in the hood. They live in the projects. They don't have anything. Parents never had anything. That's why I say you don't judge a book by its cover. You don't know people's life story. You're on the outside looking in thinking you know a person. You don't know jack diddly squat about them. No one in my family ever had anything. Okay? And my whole life, I feel like, people had thought that I was some spoiled rich kid or something just because both of my parents were Muslim and neither one of them had jack diddly squat. Like I told you, I didn't grow up in a house. My mother never owned a house. I grew up in an apartment on the south side in the hood. That's where I come from. Okay? And that's where most black Muslims in America, that's how most of us grow up. In the hood, in the projects, amongst other poor black people in this country. Being Muslim does not exclude you from being a black person in America. We're American. We're not Middle Eastern. We're not Saudi Arabian. We're not from Turkey. We're not from a Muslim country. We are double minorities because we are black and we are Muslim. Okay? So get that ideology out your mind that all Muslim people come from wealthy families. Mostly 90% of all black Muslims in America, black Americans, not Africans, I'm talking about black Americans, black American Muslims like myself, most of them live in the hood. They don't have anything. Their parents never had anything. They grew up in the projects. They grew up in the hood, just like myself. All my mama's friends lived in the projects in North Carolina, in the projects, on welfare. They were single black mothers raising their children by themselves on welfare in the hood. Black Muslim women. Okay?